As teachers and as former teachers, we all know the importance of implementing an effective classroom management plan. So today, my presentation is going to be implementing a 30, 60, 90-day plan, and hopefully this will help some novice teachers, even some of your proficient teachers, and we're just hoping that it will just have a good effect for the classroom. What is classroom management? That's one of the things we're going to focus on today, and we're going to talk about what classroom management is not. There are some misconceptions of classroom management, and I am guilty of implementing some of the misconceptions. It wasn't until I had to do some research to find out what effective and good classroom management is. We're going to also talk about within this plan, why is it important to have an effective classroom management plan? What's the benefits? How will this help you in the classroom? What type of year will you have if you have an effective classroom management plan? So it is my hopes that after this presentation that this will benefit and help a teacher in the classroom. What is classroom management? Classroom management is ways of organizing resources, pupils, helpers, so that the teaching and the learning can process in an efficient and safe manner. When I think about times when I was in the classroom and my classroom management was not so effective, I thought to myself, what are ways that I can improve with my classroom management? And when I think about those times when my classroom management was not so effective, it's when I didn't have a proper plan or when my plan was ineffective. So hopefully with this presentation, I'll be able to see how to better fit a classroom management plan, see how effective this will be. What classroom management is not. And I got this picture from the internet. I loved it because I remember as a child having to write on the green chalkboard, I will not talk in class, I will not talk in class, I will not talk in class. I remember that teacher pointing to me, no, 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 no. I remember being that child. But research shows that this is not an effective way to actually teach classroom management, or this is not an effective way, or this is not something that's effective in the classroom. We all know how it feels to be yelled at, how humiliating it can be to be done this way. So hopefully with this presentation, we can help teachers not to be the teacher in the green, or have to tell the child, I will not do something, or I will try harder. A common misconception of the classroom management, and it's a misconception that I too have had, is classroom management is not about discipline. There are going to be times when you have those students that need to have consequences for unacceptable behaviors, but there are plans for helping those students be successful in the classroom, and we'll talk about that later. If the expectations are in place, then the classroom management plan will run effectively. Classroom management is about organization, and the key word is consistency. To have an effective plan, you have to have consistency. One thing that I've learned in my tenure of teaching is consistency will allow you to be successful in the classroom. When I was inconsistent, then that's when I had a chaotic classroom. So in this plan, we're going to talk about how to get organized and the steps to help a classroom teacher become consistent with classroom management. One of the purposes of classroom management is so that we can have an effective classroom, to ensure that we have great student engagement. And if we all know, and we've been in the classroom, that if you have student engagement, then it's going to lead to a productive learning environment. And one of the key things that we want for our students is student achievement and a great productive class. Here we have key attributes for classroom management. And one of the things, or some few things that we're going to talk about is classroom rules are something that we need to talk about, or procedures or expectations are something that needs to be discussed on day one. Another thing is you need to maintain consistent routines. When students are engaged and excited about learning, then you'll know that classroom management is effective. And three key things with classroom management that we're going to talk about is using your inside voice, waiting your turn. Those are all good attributes for good classroom management. Being aware of all these school resources, not ignoring the negative behavior, which some teachers think that they have to discipline when it comes to those negative behaviors, but later on in the presentation we'll talk about how to effectively take care of those. In my literature review, some of the key things that I want to focus on is how procedures, if they're in place, they will form the plan in the classroom management plan. The basis of a classroom management plan will lie in the procedures. Having procedures will simplify the student's task. It will make everything in the classroom more manageable. Typically in the classroom, you have about 55 minutes. And we all know a teacher's biggest issue is time. When you develop a great classroom management plan, then time will not have to be your biggest enemy. And that's been one of mine. And I've learned that if I have a plan in place, then it will optimize my time with my kiddos. Also, teaching the children procedures. They need to follow the class procedures, because following procedures and being structured, it will allow you to have life skills, and then it also make teaching less stressful for teachers. Students will be taught procedures so that they're just aware how things work in a system. I often tell my kiddos that life is full of procedures. When we drive on the interstate, there's procedures, there's expectations that we have to follow. We just can't drive on the opposite side of the road. We can't run red lights. There's just rules that we have to follow outside of school as well. And if we're following those procedures and expectations, then there's less chaos. So